Hello and welcome to this video. Let's talk about what you want to know about Taurus if you want to, either get involved with a Taurus, you want to attract a Taurus, maybe you currently with a Taurus and you've got some problems and you've got no idea what is going on. Feeling a little bit like a fish completely out of water. Taurus is amazing, but like you really need to get them. You really need to get to understand them. And I am going to go through 5 different points here for you. I'm leaving the most important point that you need to understand about your Taurus last. So definitely stay around to see that one point, because if you get that, then you can get along with your Taurus. If you don't get this one point, no matter everything else that you do, this one point is going to take you down. It's going to be your downfall, Baba. It's going to be your downfall. So stick around till the end so you definitely get that. I'm going to give you everything that you need to know about your Taurus to have a successful relationship, friendship, colleague, employee, employer, like whatever your relationship is with Taurus, colleague, whatever. These are the things that you want to know. Because Taurus, they are amazing. Oh my goodness, they are incredible. But you need to understand them, and it's not always that easy to understand them, because Taurus is also not always so forthcoming with explaining what's going on. They've got a tendency to actually retract. And that can lead to all sorts of misconceptions. People will think that they are, arrogant, angry, rude, spiteful, all those sort of things, when Taurus themselves just need to kind of be on their own and regroup. I saw like a meme the other day. I think it was on Instagram, which was so funny. It was saying that I think it was on Pinterest. Actually, doesn't matter. But anyways, so it was so funny because the meme was saying like, being friends with Taurus is one of the hardest things, because what happened? Are they dead? Did they die? Because they can go off the radar like crazy, And something to understand about Taurus is that because their mind is going so much all the time, they can sort of do what we call in a text blue tick you. So it seems like they're ignoring you, but from the time they click the text, like 5 other things may have happened in the mind. You know what I mean? All right. So welcome to this video. My name is Adrian Nelson. I'm a life transformation guide. I love to support people to live their highest and best life. All right, for those who are ready. And I do a couple of different things. There's more about me in the description, but I use astrology, I use numerology, I use all my vast other knowledge of like Reiki and hypnotherapy and crystal healing, and basically a born conduit, and then or like what do you call it, like intuitive. And then I use this knowledge to help and support people, which is very exciting for me. It's very heartwarming and very fulfilling for me. And here's the thing. The better we understand people, this is what initially got me into astrology. The better you understand people, the better you are able to love them and to receive love from them. Because with understanding always comes, different possibilities. And then we don't get angry about things or react in certain ways where, we sort of like lose out on something amazing that could have been brilliant. Because trust me when I tell you, you don't want to lose out on beautiful, beautiful Taurus. Baba, you do not. These people are amazing. If you are a Taurus or you're dealing with a Taurus, let me know in the description. A Taurus is not all angelic. Trust me. We're going to talk about that as well. Okay? But let me know where in the world are we connecting from. And of course, if it's your first time, you're welcome. And if you're coming back, welcome back. And if you haven't yet done so, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Like the video. I'd really appreciate it. And tell me about your relationship with Taurus. This is a cool video to even just share with other people, to let them know, listen, this is who I am. Because it's hard to explain sometimes. So Taurus, that's if you were born between April the 20th and May the 20th, then you are a Taurus. You are Earth sign. You are in the 2nd zodiac house, so you are in between Aries, which is all sort of like that new beginnings energy. I always call Aries the New Year's of the zodiac house. And so you're between Aries and Gemini. And Gemini is always about, what is the better decision to make here, sort of like weighing up their options type of thing, experiencing things through, or having a tendency or liking to experience things through actual experience. I have already created a video for Taurus, and I think Aries is next, so you can just check out the playlist itself. Okay. So Taurus is that energy, almost like, if you can kind of imagine in an analogy that, Aries is you wake up on this planet. You're not too sure how you got here. You wake up on this planet, you were humanity, like, oh goodness, this and that and that, and you do it's all cool. Taurus is that energy that is now going to explore what is possible on this planet, what is possible as a human, that sort of thing, Taurus is an earth sign, and I think when people speak about Taurus, the first thing that normally comes to mind is that they can be stubborn. And my goodness, can these people be stubborn? One of my best friends is actually a Taurus. She showed me this video once, which is quite funny. It was, I think it was like water, sort of like natural water features for the different zodiac signs. So we did like all the 11 signs. Like, so some were like an ocean, and some were like a river, and some were like a fountain, that sort of thing. And then Taurus was this massive, massive, like, waterfall when they were speaking about how stubborn they are, and also, you want to be easy with the jokes when it comes to Taurus. They don't like to be criticized, and what you may think of as a joke might actually, not be that funny to them. And here's the thing, though, because Taurus doesn't like conflict, and trust me when I tell you, you don't necessarily want to get in conflict with these people, because you remember that analogy of the bull in the china shop type of thing? Whether they ignore you and they can ignore you hard, or they take you on and they can take you on hard, it's not a pleasant thing. It's quite funny with Taurus, actually, when they take you on. Like a typical bull, they can steam off on you like crazy. And as fast as they escalate is as quickly as they can de-escalate. Also, these people can have a temper. They can go from 0 to 1,000 in the split of a moment. There's never a dull moment around them. The interesting thing, though, with Taurus, which I quite like, is that essentially they've got a calm vibe going on. They are the earth sign. They do have a calm vibe going on. And people are often quite attracted to Taurus. The thing about Taurus is that they're naturally enigmatic. These people don't have to try to be charmers. They just are. They step into a room and you notice them. That's just who they are, sometimes people can call them manipulative, which they can be. But in general, sorry. Oh, I'm so sorry. In general, Taurus really just, where other people have to bargain for something, they can just ask or just show up. People just want to help them because they are that energy of finding stability. So people just generally just want to help them, And, I don't even know how, but they will be able to get things that are better than other people for a fraction of the price and that sort of thing. But I find that Taurus's intentions are always pure, unless, and this is what you want to know, unless they are in a space where they feel like the world doesn't care about them, they are all alone. So especially if they've got a lot of trauma that they haven't dealt with, these people can become outright vindictively manipulative. And it's almost like they can switch their emotions off. They can justify their actions, So I will even say that more often than not, when Taurus sort of, goes cold on you, when they sort of like ghost you, it's because they themselves might either understand that they're not good for you, or they may feel that they don't add up to you. Now, here's the funny thing about Taurus, and this is one of the reasons why they can often find themselves in an experience where people can use and abuse them, is that they've really got such gentle, good hearts. They really, really do. But what happens is that, they will feel more comfortable if they're the person taking the lead. So if they were someone that, is not doing that well in life, basically they're doing the better, basically. Like Taurus is doing better. They will usually feel more calm because now we can grow together, they can help that person, that sort of thing. They are still the person who's in control of the situation, essentially. All right, they get a little nervous when they when their life is determined by other people. Hence the reason they are so big on finding stability. Now, we're not on the 5 points here. These are just general things. Let me know how they resonate with you, okay? Um, but here's the funny thing though. If Taurus feels that they are like the person that they're dealing with, if they feel that that person is somehow superior to them, they've got their life more together, and it's almost like, what if this person might realize that Taurus is just almost like a commodity in their life, like a loose tie, like something to be endured. Then Taurus's alarm bells are going to go up like nobody's business, and they will outright, full out reject the person that they actually care about. So they're a little bit of a difficult energy to deal with. It's always also better now, for most people this is a challenge, but it's always better to speak straightforward with these people. It's way better to say to them something, for example, like, listen, I'm developing very strong emotions here for you, and for them to either say, okay, let's give it a shot, or for them to say, I'm not ready for this, then you can be good friends, and maybe somewhere in future you'll be able to work that out, but whereas with most people, you maybe want to first go for the dinner and that sort of thing. With Taurus, you want to know them straight out what the deal is. Can be a little challenging sometimes, but they like that. They feel that you are transparent and open and honest. They like that in general. Okay. Of course, you want to use your healthy discernment here. You don't necessarily want to be a man who says to a lady, like, listen, I just want to bend you over and, have my way with you. We shouldn't say that to anybody. So depending on where Taurus is coming from, funny enough, they might actually find that quite alluring. But, you obviously want to be sure that that's the kind of thing that you can say to someone, otherwise you can get into trouble. All right? Tauruses are very funny. They just are. They're really good storytellers, And I don't know what it is with these people and coffee. They just love their coffee. I don't know what it is with them and coffee, but they love their coffee, They can take a while to come over to work or overcome trauma, heartbreak. These people don't do anything in half measures. So they can be a little bit avoidant when it comes to love, because they don't want to be hurt or hurt someone else. And they're ruled by the planet Venus, which is all about beauty and, like beautiful stuff. Remember that second zodiac house, exploring what is possible, how good can life be, what are the possibilities, all right? And until Taurus doesn't feel 100% solid in their own sort of being and life, they are typically gonna not be too interested in sort of like letting anybody else into their life, because they feel that they shouldn't let you into their chaos. Okay. All right. So the 5 points of them, the one is their biggest weakness, which is also their biggest strength. All right. When it comes to passion, these people are outright nymphomaniacs, even the most subtle of them. All right. They think about food, they can be quite anxious. And here's the last point, this is what you want to stay around for, when people can call them lazy. You wanna understand that part. If you don't get that part, it's tickets for you, Baba. Not gonna work out. Okay? So, their biggest weakness and their biggest strength is that these people are very stubborn. They're very compatible. All right? And what I do like about them is they're very much on their word. All right? Like I think of my friend, if I said we're going to do something, we're going to do it. End of story. It's going to happen. So you got to be sure, if you give these people your word, you got to be sure you're going to keep their word, because Taurus will do everything to keep their word to you. Everything. All right? Everything. That's the beautiful thing about them. And the thing about, everybody needs people. But when you speak about a zodiac sign that doesn't need people, trust me when I tell you, Taurus doesn't need you. They don't need you. Okay? They may even believe that they don't need anybody. And especially if they experience trauma in their lifetime, that can be reinforced in a way that can actually be quite to their detriment. Because even the idea, the thought of a red flag will make them run. Okay? They're a little bit of a volatile energy. Now, they will completely disagree, and that's okay. You know? The thing I also want you to know is that when Taurus really cares about you, they will do anything for you. Anything. These people will cut off their nose to give it to you if you need a nose and you like a match. And so people do tend to take advantage of them, you know. But you can take advantage of Taurus for years. For years, in the most despicable ways. And they will be unhappy about it. And at some point in time, something will just snap. And that's when it's the end of your story there. Like when they're done, they're done. These people are like when they are done, they are done. So when you, for example, take a zodiac energy like Cancer and you know, Taurus and Cancer's got a lot of commonalities. Quite a lot of correlations. So it's quite funny because when a Taurus tell you that they are done, they're not done. When they say that I'm done, they're not done. When they are done, you will cease to exist. It's like you were never even born. You don't exist in their world. Okay? So while they're still fighting and things with you, it's usually a good thing. The thing about Taurus, though, is that, and this actually happened to me a little while ago, is that they can take things quite personally, you know, where I had this thing where this, you know, person was saying to me that, like, I would message him, and he would be like, you know, I feel so bad when you message me and I don't message back immediately, but my mind goes in a different direction. And I was like, no, that's fine. Which I meant it was fine. But, you know, and I was saying to him, I feel quite bad when you say that. And this is the point where you want to pause and breathe and ask Taurus, tell me about that. Okay? So don't be like me who just said, oh, no, it's fine, it's cool, it's all right, don't worry about it. Because it's almost like what they feel is not being acknowledged. All right. Taurus is all about the straight talking. Seriously, with these people, you can talk even more straight than with a Virgo. They are all about the straight talking. Okay. I think if you, now when I say straight talking, I'm not talking about disrespectful talking. Okay. They're not going to tolerate that. Okay. And as I'm saying, when these people are done with you, they're done with you. Because when Taurus is done, there is nothing to consider because it's like you were never even born. But they can carry pain and sort of like rejection and things with them for a very long time. So you have to be very careful how you kind of give criticism to these people or feedback. You know, if you, let's say you make the mistake or something, and you know, and then they're like, oh, it's a little bit too spicy, or something's not cooked the way that you wanted. They're gonna take that like a personal attack. To them, it's like you are taking the hot roster off the fire and hitting them through the face with it. Okay. So how would you give them feedback? You know, first of all, you wanna now you don't want to be fickle with them. You know. You want to be honest, you want to be respectful, and you want to tell them, you know, I really appreciate this, I really like the effort, I may have preferred it a little bit like this, but don't be just closed off. Taurus is very much about trying new things. You know, even though at one point they are completely adverse to trying new things. You know. Passion with Venus energy. These people are nymphomaniacs. Nymphomaniacs. I'm telling you, if passion is the thing that you want, if you want to try different stuff, you know, if that sort of thing. But here's the thing about Taurus. Outside in public, angels. Like, it's like the old saying, butter can't melt in their mouth. But when you get inside, oh, baby. But it takes them quite a, you know, the thing about Taurus is that they need to make an emotional connection with you first. A very a strong, honest emotional connection that's strong and honest and powerful, but yet it's very calming and relaxing at the same time. You need to feel like their sense of place, their sense of home. Now, the thing that you want to know about Taurus is that Taurus can tend to become quite jealous and quite possessive. And sometimes that's also a reason why they pull away from someone, because they know that they can get crazy. Trust me when I tell you, they know it. you know? And so sometimes when they realize that they're not in the best space, they will draw back. And then this is a lot of times what Taurus do when they believe that they are not sort of measuring up to where you are. What they will do is they will draw back, work really, really hard with the intention to be at the level where they can match you so that they don't inconvenience you. That's a lot of times where their thinking will come from. Okay? And even though it might seem from the outside that they are being this really cold, horrible cunts, you know, the intention is very pure. Taurus has got the purest heart. The thing about it is, though, they don't necessarily feel the need to explain themselves to other people. Hence, a lot of times the misunderstandings. People think they don't care. People think that they are cold. These people are incredibly critical of themselves, typically. Very critical of themselves. And so they often believe that other people are so the same as well. So when you, for example, like me with a text, say, oh, that's not a problem, they may hear it very differently. Okay? They may hear it as like, I don't care. Do it whenever you want to. I don't care anyways. That's how they may hear it, depending on where they are. When they really, really, really care about you, this is how you know they care about you. They're going to ask you about it. You know. Also, when Taurus likes you, they become a little bit obsessive. So by the time that they get physically sort of like, you know, involved with you, they have played the scenario in their minds already many times. And they connect with their emotions first. And the thing about Taurus is their emotions are so strong, but they can switch their emotions off like this. Like it's gone. These people do nothing in half measures, you know. And I think one of the biggest lessons for Taurus to learn, which they eventually actually do learn, and they want to, when they get that safe space in which they can learn it, because for most Taurus, most of their life, they're more in a survival space. You know, so people look at them quite a lot. For the onus almost automatically falls on him to be the savior of stuff. So when they eventually feel that they can be calm and they can be relaxed, that's when they go into that space of feeling, okay, now I can look a little deeper, you know, towards myself. Where does my patterns come from? That sort of thing. Okay, but you know, for Taurus, it has to be a connection in the heart. These people can be in a committed relationship for you for like 3 years. And you still haven't slept with each other. You know, they have to have the sense of security inside. Anything that threatens Taurus' security, they're not going to go against it. And if they make a mistake, they can be incredibly hard on themselves. So, you know, for them, I think their biggest life lesson is to learn to just simmer things down a bit. Not switch them off, but it's okay to just let it simmer sometimes. And to not be so harsh and critical of the self. And to remember that when you take a pot of soup, when you take a stew, it's when you simmer it on, and you leave it on the heat, that it gets that really hearty sort of like feel and flow and experience. Because when there's a fight, Taurus will typically be like, you know what, well, if I'm the problem, then I'm out of here. And so they can have a tendency to come and go, come and go, come and go quite a bit. And here's the funny thing. If they go, let them go. Don't try to stop them. Don't try to stop them. Okay? They may or may not come back. So I would say here's the thing about Taurus in love. When you really make that connection with them, oh my goodness, nothing beats it. But there's quite a bit of patience that goes along with that. These people are often quite a lot about their family, be it biological family, the family they adopted for themselves, their doggies, their whatever. So you must know they come with that, because they will choose, no matter how much they love you, they will choose their family bond, their sense of security and safety over you. Okay? And if they choose you over their family and stuff, then you really need to talk with them, because they can have some heavy expectations from you. And those expectations are not always necessarily communicated clearly in advance, because they may think that you get it. Straight talking with these people are very important. Very important. Taurus does have a tendency to live a little bit with their head up in the clouds. You know? Which again is one of the things that make them so attractive. Yeah, because they kind of take you out of the regular run of the mill of your everyday life. Okay? But passion, oh my goodness. But it's all passion, you know, like be it really crazy and rough, be it sensual, be it all the different colors of the rainbows. It is just, whew. And the thing about Taurus also is that they will do anything for the person that they love. But in that way, they can sometimes lose their identity in a connection. And because they know this is possible, is why they are typically so careful of just giving their heart. Okay. These people love food, point number 3. So 1, biggest mistake, weaknesses. 2, nymphomaniacs, passions. 3, food. They love food. These people's energy is really, really fast. And it's a funny thing, they can eat and eat and eat and typically be fine. You know? But, you know, one thing about Taurus, though, is that as much as they love food, you know, they're going to see your manipulation a mile away. So if you're trying to give them stuff, food, whatever, trying to manipulate their mind, they're not going to fall for it. You know, if you, for example, just said, let's say you take them for dinner, but you're not clear what your intention, but they can sense that you're not, that you maybe be interested in them. And, you know, maybe you're not, like, for example, someone like me, I'm not so straight talking. You know, I'm a Cancerian. I'm a little bit beating around the bush type of thing. They may see it almost as like, what is your sneaky plan over here now? Because why don't you talk straight? You know, that sort of thing. They want to sometimes see how far you're going to push it, but then they might get tired of you. All right? But these people, you know, the earth energies, and earth come from, your food comes from the earth. So they're very stimulated by food. They're very family people. You know, they're beautiful, beautiful people. They really, really are. And they make the best food ever. But here's the thing that you want to know about Taurus: food, you know, acts of kindness, all of those type of things. They appreciate it even so much more when you do these things for them. Okay? Come now, Bruno. And they really listen. They really hear you. To them, little deeds of action is like little deeds of kindness is like food. You know, they don't want to feel in the way. They can easily feel in the way when they're not. They're very independent people, and they're willing to work very, very hard for it, harder than most people. You know, Taurus tends to be successful in their life because they just don't give up. They don't give up. You know, and I remember now in my Libra video, I actually, you know, was speaking about Queen Elizabeth being a Libra, but she was actually a Taurus. It's about service. How can I help? They're very committed. They're very loyal. They're very generous. They're very much about their life in service. They love routine. They're very funny. They're very logical. They're very capable. You know, it's like, you will look at them and you will think that Taurus's, you know, negotiation skills is on point. But somehow, even if they don't ask, they just get. People just want to give them stuff, you know. They tend to be quite anxious, though. Point number 4. They tend to be have anxiety. They tend to not easily let go of things. You know, it's that, you know, that the ego is basically meant to keep you safe, and the ego they'll say, you know, remember what happened last time, you know, or to you or to someone else or on a television program or whatever. You don't want to repeat this. So, you know, Taurus can really overthink things a lot, and to them it's like, you will typically hear Taurus say things like, I never lose anybody, I just learn. I don't lose people, you know. My brother-in-law is a Taurus, and I love him very much. You know, and it will be like, Adrian, I'm the price, you know. But it's that amazingness, and it's quite funny because these people like to keep things simple. However, they like to go and explore all sorts of possibilities. They will find some passion in life, and when they find that passion, they will stick with it. You know, they will stick with that. And it can be very hard for Taurus to sometimes open their mind to other possibilities. And in that way, even that point number 1, stubbornness, can lead to this point number 4, anxiety. They can sometimes hold on to things longer than what is healthy. The other thing is that they have the thing of like, I'm not going to bother to explain. Okay? That sort of thing. Believe what you want. But then they will say believe what you want, but then they will go and try, they will almost commit to then doing something else to show you that they didn't need you in the first place. You know? And then the last point, this is the most important one, is that people can often see Taurus as lazy. And the thing is that they do nothing in half measures. They work, they don't stop. Try to stop them, you go, bye. Don't try to stop these people. Okay? And when they really care about you, they will listen. But then you have to come from good intentions. If you try to do something to get something and you're being sneaky about it, they're going to see you as the most malicious being on the planet. Even if they can't fully sort of figure out what you're busy with, they're not going to like it. All right? So when they take a break, they take a full break. And I think sometimes their systems, their vagus nerve, they like sort of completely overwhelm themselves. The other thing to also remember, they're really not lazy. They're not lazy at all. They just overwhelmed sometimes. In many ways, I think Taurus sometimes just want somebody to hold them in their arms and to say to them, it's okay. You know, it's all right. But it's not easy to get to the point like that. That's the challenge, you know. I find with Taurus sometimes you can come easily into their sphere, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you stay there, you know. And here's the thing about them that's so amazing. Anything that you do with them is great. Anything. Anything. You know, I remember myself and this one guy. We would have these long conversations, no idea what we spoke about, but it'll still feel like the best conversation in the world ever. It's the same way with my other friend that I told you about who showed me the waterfall. It's the same with my brother-in-law, a couple of other Tauruses I know as well. These people are amazing. They're exceptional. They can get things going. They can tend to have a little bit of a creative relationship with the truth. You know, they've got this reality in their mind and they get so carried away and they tell you so. They're not meaning to lie. They can actually make really great storytellers, you know. But, you know, those are the basic things about Taurus. But I can tell you that as long as you come from genuine, pure intentions, they will be really drawn to you, because a lot of people in this world are not from genuine, pure intentions. And, you know, if at any point in life you brought a lot of happiness and joy to them, chances are they're going to come back. Okay? I wish you all the best with your Taurus. Let me know what you think. Does it resonate? Remember to subscribe, like, give me your comments. And I look forward, where's Bruno? Say hi, Bruno. To see you next time. Bye. Oh, I'm sorry.